What is up, RotoGrinders? Hope you've been having an enjoyable NFL Sunday, but it's time for some NBA Crunch Time. I'm your host today, TJ Zwarich, and we got some Crunch Time sponsored by Fanduel. Fanduel Single Entry Series is back. Don't forget to reserve your entry at the $5, $33, and $100 tiers and get in on the action for weekly and seasonal prizes. Shout out to our leaders after the second week of the contest. Through week 9 of the NFL, in first we have J-Tay, almost as good of a name as TJ, but J-Tay is still pretty good. Second, we have Puckrat. Third, we have Dream Team 2013. You can also sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook if you are in a legal sports betting state and take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. I'm not in the legal sports betting states, but I know my partner in crime over here, my good friend Andre Alfred, Drizzy26. He himself is a sports betting man. How you doing, Dre?
I am doing pretty good. Only bet I won today was the Vikings money line, so gotta be happy about that. But um, other than that, I'm doing well. Hopefully, can get some good plays out. Hopefully, make one basketball lineup on DK today. Let's see if we could, give some people some good picks to come in second on DK, but first on FanDuel today.
Let's do it. And so we're going to start with FanDuel today, our sponsor. I'm going to talk through cash games a little bit, and then I'm going to throw it to you for tournaments. And then, of course, like always, if I got some tournament takes, if you got some cash takes, we'll weave them in there as well. Starting on FanDuel, I got kind of 5 core plays here that I think are absolutely necessary for cash games. We're looking at Tyus Jones, Darius Garland, Dylan Brooks, Kevin Love, and Evan Mobley. 2 players from one team, 3 players from another team. And the reason for that is we got Donovan Mitchell out. We got, who's the other Cleveland player we just got ruled out alongside Donovan Mitchell? Jared Allen out. So that obviously opens the door for Garland, for Love, for Mobley. Karis LeVert's a great play in there as well, but I don't think he's an absolute must. And then on the Memphis side of things, we're looking at no John Morant, no Desmond Bane, opening up the door big time for Tyus Jones and Dylan Brooks. So I'm going to go through position by position, but before I do that, Dre, what's your kind of general overview of the slate, and what do you think of those 5 core plays for cash games today?
Um, I don't mind them today, definitely for sure. Uh, it's a good little core play for cash. Definitely gonna be some of the higher owned guys. Kevin Love and Mobley could definitely play well together in the front court. I personally probably maybe might have separate them, but that's just me. Um, but I like it. It's not bad. I love Kevin Love today. I think he's a fantastic play at 5 at his price on both sites. FanDuel and DraftKings just being too cheap for him in his position, and him starting pretty much solidifies his minutes. He should be able to get a few extra get like probably mid 20s, maybe low 30 minutes here today. So I like that. And Garland, you can't get away from it either. He's just in a smash spot. I think we need to play him. Um, and yeah, I think it's a great core. Honestly, nothing wrong with it at all for sure.
If there was one I was going to sub out, I think it would probably be the $6,600 Evan Mobley, and maybe I would look to somebody like a Karis LeVert instead. If I had another big I'd want to play. But I think the biggest question mark in cash games you're looking at today is, do I want to play Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic? We got cards with Nikola Jokic as one of his core plays. I definitely can't argue with that, but I do very much like Joel Embiid today going up against Utah. And then with all the value we have, I think we can prioritize a second spend as well. So I'm going to start with the guard position, start going position by position. And I think it's an absolute must to have Darius Garland and Tyus Jones in your cash game lineup today. Maxi's fine. Murray's fine. And I like De'Aaron Fox in tournaments quite a bit. I think Russell Westbrook is a great play as well. Curry's fine. Any one of those you want to plug in all the way down to Curry. I don't think I'd feel the Beverly Melton route in cash, but Curry and up, as long as you have Darius Garland and Tyus Jones in your lineup, I think that is A-okay. And then if we go to the shooting guard position, we get the additional options of John Conchar and Karis LeVert. both I think are very strong options for cash games. Me personally, I think I'd be leading the Conchar route so I could get a secondary pay up like Kevin Durant later on in these positions. He doesn't have as strong of an RG value, but we got the value today to spend up. And Kevin Durant facing the Lakers, still no Kyrie Irving. I think he's my favorite option to do so with. In the mid range, there's nothing wrong with Klay Thompson, Zach LaVine, Anthony Edwards, Denny Abdia. I think that's all totally fine. But for me personally, Kevin Durant would be my priority. And then getting to the power forwards and small forward positions, one of the reasons I'd be somewhat interested in playing Karis LeVert as opposed to Jared Allen here, or sorry, as opposed to Evan Mobley here, would be if you wanted to pay up for Kyle Kuzma or Kristaps Porzingis. Both of them, I think, are phenomenal plays on this slate against Memphis, still without Bradley Beal. And Porzingis would probably be my favorite of the two over on FanDuel, or it's only a $500 difference. So I think if you wanted to pivot to one of them instead of Evan Mobley, there's nothing wrong with that either. And so on that note, I think I'm actually going to take out Evan Mobley here as like my core must for cash games, and I'm going to leave it at Jones, Garland, Brooks, and Love. How about you? Starting with the guard position, who are some of your favorite tournament plays on the slate?
Some of my favorite tournament plays on the slate. Do I have anyone? Well, Russell Westbrook. Two of them coming up probably like 20%, maybe a little bit less now with Garland being pretty much about the same price and being popular. So that's someone I'm going to probably have a lot of interest in today. Definitely with LeBron continuing to be out and his price being a 7.4. I think we could also probably take a look today at a guy like Jamal Murray at 6'2". Still a little bit too cheap. Going to be a little bit popular, but like I said, I don't know how much popular it's going to be with Tyus Jones here as well. I know we can fit him in a shooting guard position, so that might end up being what happens today with him. But I think he's a solid option as well. Jordan Clarkson going against Phillies, I think it's another option. I think it's a back-to-back for them for Utah, if I'm correct. So this will be interesting to see how many minutes Mike Conley plays or doesn't play. So I would definitely have some interest in him, as well as Steph Curry is one of my favorite spend ups here today too as well. I'll move on to the shooting guard position real quick. I'll try to fly through this actually. So shooting guard, pretty much from what I'm seeing here, what I want to get to, Anthony Edwards continues to be too cheap, so he would be someone I would be interested in at 7.2 and wanting to use it as a run back against Cleveland here today. So I like him a lot. I know LeVert's gonna be popular, but uh, I might want to just try to swerve off that a little bit at 6'3". He's a good play for sure, but I would swerve off of that a little bit and maybe take a stand and maybe go with like a guy like D'Anthony Melton at 5'8". Just a little bit like in the same price range, a little bit more than Dylan Brooks, but a little bit less than LeVert. So right there in that little sweet spot where he's going to probably a little bit overlooked here today. Another guy, Klay Thompson, always has a history in Sacramento playing well. I love taking shots with him in GPPs. And then the last person is Malik Monk. He played well against his team the last time, and he's going to continue to shoot the ball. So that's someone else I want to definitely have a lot of interest in for sure. Okay, let's go with the forwards. I'm going to go with both small forward and power forward at the same time.
I'll touch on quick of the guards that you brought up is I love the Steph Curry call. And the thing I like about Russell Westbrook is without LeBron playing mid-30s minutes, like this should be a smash play. And he hasn't done great the last two games. He hasn't done terrible. Like he's done fine, high 30s, but he hasn't done great and it's been shooting 6 for 15 and 6 for 17 from the field. 2 for 20 from 2 points attempt. Now, Russell Westbrook is not a great shooter, but he's capable of shooting better than 30% in games. And so I think there's still a huge ceiling here, especially against a porous defense like the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay. So what am I at this? I'm at the forwards, right?
Yeah, small forwards and power forwards.
Small forward, power forward. Okay, so Anthony Davis, 11K. It's high, a little bit over expensive, but Bigs against Brooklyn is a thing. I always say it's a thing. So Anthony Davis would be someone I would try to use to get a little bit of leverage in GPPs. If I was going to pay him and go with like a guy like Joel Embiid today or someone else upper tier, I can't get to. I like his price on. I mean, I like this guy, but his price is a little bit too high on here. But Sabonis, I love the spot he's in against Golden State here. So he's another strong. I think a really, really, really strong play today, as well. Kristaps Porzingis at 8K is another strong play. Kyle Kuzma as well. Um, Andrew Wiggins 7-3, still I think at a great price. With his rebounding upside that he has on the slate, I think he still has capabilities of putting up a big game here, um, and shooting the ball pretty well. So Wiggins is someone that I love a lot today as well. Um, and Harrison Barnes, if he's gonna be playing 30 minutes, I think you have to get him in there too as well. Uh, Kevin Love, I mentioned before, but he'll be extremely popular now, and you can use him at the center position, which I'll transition to right now. Claxton's a guy you want to look at today, I think, in tournaments today. Steven Adams is someone I do not mind in tournaments today, but would not be that high of a priority for me. Um, you can look at Rudy Gobert too, especially with them not having bigs up front. But 8-2 is a little bit pricey, where you can go get Porzingis a little bit cheaper or Claxton. But it's all about what you feel the upside is on the slate for these guys. And Draymond Green is always an interesting tournament play. I think you could get to as well.
I think if I was running 150 today, I'd be hitting the lock button on Tyus Jones and Kevin Love. Those I think would be the two that I'd be hitting lock on, and I'd be getting probably like 70-80% ish each of Garland and Brooks on this one. That just all feels like really good chalk. And then the two guys I think I want to get the most over the field on that are going overlooked are Porzingis and Kuzma. Sub 20% for both of these guys in a strong matchup against Memphis. Beal's still not back due to conditioning on his way back from COVID. I think that all three of them, or like all of those guys, make for just great chalk today. And then Porzingis and Kuzma should be chalk, and they're not, is kind of how I'm doing this. Of the three chalkiest spend ups, Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, and Joel Embiid, how are you prioritizing those three?
I don't really like Kevin Jokic or Joel Embiid. I'm not really on any of them besides KD today. If I was on any of them, I like going a little bit lower, like Steph Curry I mentioned before. He's someone that will be prioritized a little bit more personally, and then try to get also some of these mid-range guys in there a lot because I think they have the upside today, especially with a high total of 237 in that Golden State Warrior game.
Accidentally switched my screen here to NFL instead of NBA. Got football on the mind, but we're swapping it here. Over to DraftKings, and then we will get some questions. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button for us. If we get over 30 likes here, then Dre is going to give out his favorite NBA bet of the night, which he didn't know he was going to be doing, but now he is, and I'm giving him a little bit of a heads up before we get to 30 likes. So I'm going to check questions first in the NBA Crunch Time Discord, then I'll pivot over to the YouTube chat as well. But first things first, let's talk cash games on DraftKings. As you can see here, this is how I would start my lineup. 6 plays from the same game. Tyus Jones, Dylan Brooks, John Conchar, Evan Mobley, Kevin Love, Darius Garland. Same thing over on DraftKings. I would be okay with a pivot to a guy like Karis LeVert off of Evan Mobley if that's what you're really feeling. But for me personally, this is how I like to start my lineup, and I get my choice of my favorite spend up, whether it be Joel Embiid, whether it be Kevin Durant, whether it be Nikola Jokic. Maybe it's Stephen Curry where I get this 3-point bonus here on DraftKings, or maybe I want to save a little salary with Anthony Davis. However you want to roll your lineup, you can. With this much salary left, you can take an expensive guy and pivot to one of these 7Kers for your last spot, or you can stick in 2 in this mid-ish range. Look at guys like Curry. Look at some of these 8K guys as well. I believe you even if you want to swap that to a tournament lineup, you can get a little Sabonis or Fox and run it back in a mini game stack with Curry. Let's talk tournaments, though. I guess before that, let's take a look at cards as core plays here. He has Jokic, Brooks, Love, Jones. For me, Love, Jones, and Brooks are absolute musts. If you wanted to pivot away from Jokic, I understand it, but the other three are absolute musts. Who are you? Is there anybody different on DraftKings today that you're looking at the guard position, or as opposed to FanDuel? Like, you just think they're a way better deal on DK?
A way better.
Garland at 72 just kind of feels like that's a borderline lock. Like, even running 150, I think I would have to play Darius Garland.
Yeah, that's the one guy that I feel like today maybe you might have to get in. Steph Curry's
Tyus Jones at 3,600. Like, these two guys I would lock in at the guard positions. I believe. Hold on, they're both point guard, but I don't care. I would lock that in at guard and point guard. 7,200 for Garland and 3,600 for Tyus Jones. Like, I think if I run 150 today, maybe even looking at a guy like Conchar too, who's only 3,400. Like, this might be something that is in all 150 of my lineups if I were to do that. What about you?
I mean, Garland is an excellent play. Their defense has not been that great lately, so I would definitely do it. I really am like trying to get to Steph Curry, but he's kind of a hard guy to get into my lineups today. At 10-2, with me wanting to get Garland in there, Kevin Love, and also go with another guy that I love a lot today here. So really, like, honestly, at the guard position, the ones that I feel like are really good strong plays, guys like Zach LaVine, who's 7-1, who's a really, really, really strong play. Conchar is also a really strong play at 3-4. And being that cheap is just hard to kind of get away from. But you have to think about the upside that it has on your lineup too, and how many minutes he's going to play. So I probably would just say, and maybe even Clay, because Clay I think is Clay's good on both sides, but I think he's just a strong player overall.
I kind of wish I was running 150 on DK today just so I could lock in these four players and get exposure to everybody else after that. Forward position, we talked about liking Conchar and Love, who are both eligible there. Is there anybody externally you like more on DK? You talked about somebody like Andrew Wiggins, who gets a significant discount over on DK than he does on FanDuel. What about a guy like Ben Simmons at 5'9"? Would you take that shot? I sure wouldn't.
He don't play no minutes.
He's not starting and playing any minutes anymore, so you really can't. I just wanted to bring up Ben Simmons because, geez, the way Brooklyn kind of thought they had something and then flushed it all down the drain is pretty funny. But Dylan Brooks, Kevin Love, John Conchar, these are the guys we're looking at as our top plays. Is there anybody else you're prioritizing?
I think Dylan Brooks is borderline lock. Like, I was trying to look this up. The stats without Ja Morant and Desmond Bane. It's only been one game, but he had 30 points in that game, and the usage was off the charts. So Dylan Brooks probably has to be a lock too, because he's just going to take as many shots as he possibly can, and put up probably a monster score. So I would definitely probably lock him in too. Another guy that I really, really like a lot is Sabonis. I love Sabonis on this slate. On DK, I think his price is just a little bit too cheap at 8.6. I think he has a lot of upside at that price. So someone that I have a lot of want to try to prioritize and get it. I understand that we have Evan Mobley at 6K, so that probably might work a little bit better, especially with Kevin Love there too as well. Because if Evan Mobley can give you like a 40s piece, which he definitely can, then you're probably going to need him a little bit more compared to Sabonis. So those are the guys I'm looking at today against my lineup, just to get a little bit different and go from there.
Yeah, I think I would. If I'm running 150 in this setting, I think this would be my final four. I would go with the lock button on, and I would make a rule that I'm playing 1 to 2 of Kevin Love and Evan Mobley in every single lineup, and just maybe not 100% love, but go 80% and make sure I have Mobley in the 20% of lineups that I don't have him. Mix in a lot of Karis LeVert there as well. Let's see if we have any questions here. First thing we got here, FanDuel single entry. Who's your favorite stud to spend up on? It's Kevin Durant for you, is it not?
Kevin Durant would be my favorite to spend up on, yes.
I think that would be my favorite spend up in a single entry tournament as well. FanDuel cash, LeVert and Jokic or Mobley and Embiid. I think the answer there is actually LeVert and Jokic. How about you?
LeVert, Embiid.
LeVert and Jokic or Mobley and Embiid.
Where do you see that at? I see the one I see.
I'm looking at Discord, NBA Discord.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say I see something similar. That's why. Yeah, the first one.
And then FanDuel cash, Kevin Durant and Royce O'Neal and Jokic. So KD, O'Neal and Jokic, or AD, Cat, and Edwards. I think the answer there is definitely KD, O'Neal, and Jokic, except I don't know if I'd want to be going to O'Neal in cash. I'd maybe be looking to, if you make sure you have Dylan Brooks in your lineup, and then if you don't, I think you can use Royce O'Neal as a last piece, absolutely. But it's definitely that first one. Switching over to YouTube, is Jokic a must play at center on DraftKings?
No.
I don't think he's a must with guys like Embiid up there too, and then we got Mobley, we got Kevin Love. I don't think he'd be a must. So would you also prioritize KD on DraftKings? Is that your favorite spend up there as well?
He's my favorite spend. I don't know if I'll prioritize him because the way I'm looking right now, I might be getting more of a balanced build. So he wouldn't be a top priority for me, but he would be something I'll be considering.
Any interest in Brandon Clark? I don't think that's necessary. We're missing the most spots at the guard. You don't mind that for tournaments?
That's not a bad play for tournaments. He has the upside in that price point to give you. He's a high per minute guy. He has the upside where he can give you 30 to 35 fantasy point at his price point.
He's just currently projecting him for sub 20 minutes. The only time he's played over 20 minutes this season has been without Steven Adams, and Steven Adams is in. It's only the guards we're missing. So I don't think I'd be able to get to him today. But what about Anthony Edwards or Russell Westbrook in a DK GPP?
Edwards or Russell Westbrook? That's hard. You said DK?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. If it's DK, I'm gonna go Edwards because Edwards is cheaper, but Russell Westbrook still has triple-double upside.
Karis LeVert and Joel Embiid or Jokic and Mobley. So just kind of the opposite of that question that we've already had. I see where you were looking now. For me, that's the Jokic and Mobley side. How about you?
Yeah, probably the same thing, yeah.
Thoughts on Kristaps Porzingis, one of my favorite tournament plays on the slate. I think he's going heavily overlooked today. How about you?
He is going overlooked for sure. Just want to make sure he plays well against the team, which he should. So that's my main concern. So I'm actually going to look into that real quick right now to see how he's done against this, and I'll give you a better idea.
So in DK Cash, I'll answer this one. Sabonis and Curry versus Embiid and Westbrook. For cash, that answer is Embiid and Westbrook. However, I got to say for tournaments, I do like the Sabonis and Curry side quite a bit better. I love that kind of mini stack there. Is Steph Curry chase at this point? No, he's one of the best players in the world, playing with a ton of usage, and he's just very good, and he never actually projects all that well because of the volatility in a shooter's fantasy scoring. Bruce Brown, GPP on DK. I think that's getting a little too cute with all the strong values that we have. And same with Jaden McDaniels in a DK GPP. For me, it's just so tough to look at guys like that when they're not missing anybody. Like Jaden McDaniels to me is okay because maybe he could have a big stocks game, but we have so much value on a short slate with teams that are just missing so many players. I would rather mix and match my spend ups, get different variations of Jokic, Embiid, Durant, Curry, and stuff like that, and Anthony Davis, as opposed to messing around with mid-range value.
Yeah, I also Kristoff is he hasn't been the best play lately. That might be due to like usage with other players. So no, he's not because he's not gonna be the number one option. Kyle Kuzma is gonna be the number one option on this team today. So I don't like him as much.
I like both of them quite a bit today, just based on without Jared Allen, this team probably won't be as strong defensively. We did see last game against Utah in 32 minutes. Porzingis had 20 shot attempts, went up for 55 DraftKings points, even more on FanDuel, where he had a steal and 2 blocks as well. So I'm a big fan of him today. No more questions in the YouTube or DraftKings right now. Make sure you get those in. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button for us. Let's try and get this one up above 30, maybe up above 40. You got any hot takes for this slate, Dre?
A balanced build is going to win it all. I think that's a very, very hot take. I love Wiggins a lot today. Wiggins is my favorite GPP play as well. I think Wiggins is in the winning lineup.
I like that. Very interesting. Who do you like just straight up better, Evan Mobley or Karis LeVert?
Mobley. Well, depending on the site, but probably I will lean more towards Mobley on both sites.
I think I lean a little bit towards Mobley as well, but we actually do have Karis LeVert as the higher projected play by about 2 points. So keep that in mind. And to me, it's just like it depends who else I'm prioritizing in my lineup. I would kind of leave that decision last and see what position I have left to fill. And if it's a utility, do I have Garland in it? No. Better make sure you have LeVert. Do I have Love in it? No. Better make sure I have Mobley. If you have both, you really just flip of a coin. I think I lean slightly Mobley as well. Kyle Kuzma and a GPP on DraftKings. Yes, I think that's a fantastic play.
It's in my lineup.
There it is. In Dre's lineup. You got Andrew Wiggins in there as well. You'll be up top with Dre tonight. 2 minutes away from lock. No more questions here.
I need a last piece to fit in here. Jared Vanderbilt is not man. I need a last piece in for my small forward, my power forward position.
How much money to go? What are we looking at?
We are looking at 5,400 or less on DK. Oh, I can get Royce.
5,400 or less.
I can get Royce.
I think Royce is the guy that you want to go with there. Although I actually don't hate the idea of messing with Lonnie Walker in tournaments. I think he's kind of interesting in that late night hammer. He played mid-30s minutes in his last game back the other day. So I think Lonnie Walker is somebody that's moderately interesting for tournaments. That'll do it for this edition of Crunch Time, sponsored by Fanduel. Make sure you're hitting the like button on the way out. We will have, I believe it's Chief and STL back shortly, talking some NFL with you guys on that single game slate that we have tonight. So stay tuned for that one. Any last words, Dre?
No, just good luck. Hopefully you're coming through. Nope, definitely.
Obi thought I asked if he had any last words. That's my bad.
Yeah, Obi has the last word today. We're out of here. Have a good one, fellas. Good night, everyone.